lawn equipment.
Your hair looks ridiculous.
I know, sure.
I gotta turn the light or something because the lighting's like all. And you're sneezing already in my video.
Point just right.
Yeah, I was aiming for your face.
Right, yeah.
I was like, if I point this directly at Will, it'll blind him. Ha!
Well, I know we got more nails hanging at random places.
Hey, it works, don't it? Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, this is our shanty that me and David built.
Yeah.
Well, shanty's a ship, isn't it? Isn't that what that means? Well,
Shanty.
yeah, isn't that like a ship or something? My
I
vessel.
believe
Or
it
something?
is. I mean, it's a tune you sing.
Yeah,
Like you sing a shanty.
Oh
But I
Lord,
don't think that's a
I
ship.
thought that was a sea shanty.
I
That's
mean,
a sea melody. That's
I thought it was just a
ocean music.
sea shanty, shanty. I mean, that's the only shanty I
Yeah,
know.
it's a
Other than
shanty.
this shanty.
I just like calling it a shanty.
I've been calling it a shanty. Is this not a shanty?
It
I am
is.
all wrong now. Anyway, that's
I knew a bitch named
Shit.
Shanty once.
okay. First project in Go-Kart Garage. Ridiculous name, I know, but it works. And so here's what's going on with some of the stuff we purchased. This is the Murray, a Murray I saved actually about a week ago. It has a 12 horsepower, crappy little, it's got the Intech series is pretty much what it is. Brakes and Stratton, overhead valve, typical, just garbage. Doesn't even have a spin-on oil filter. You know, it's just a plain little motor. And this thing actually runs, and it runs well. It doesn't smoke or tick. It doesn't even have that terrible startup that most of them have. You know, the valve, the compression release doesn't work, and they're hard to crank. Nothing. It works really well. So, and this thing is super clean. The guy that brought it to us didn't know how the rules worked at the scrapyard, so he stabbed a hole in the gas tank right there to drain it all out instead of just unhooking the line right here or just, you know, cutting the line, which would have been an easy fix. He stabbed a hole in the tank, so now I gotta replace the tank. But once again, good luck at the junkyard. 2 of these bad boys came in and I saved the tank. So we got that. And yeah. So first up is this is going to be the next racing mower because it's a 5-speed. And even though it's super clean, I'm not going to try to resell it or anything because this is one of like 4 motors we picked up this week. This is a 22 horsepower Intech series overhead valve V-twin Briggs & Stratton engine. Just amazing. And it runs. I bench tested all the engines that we got this week. Yes, I said all because I got 4 Briggs & Stratton twin-cylinder engines that run. 4. 3 of which are the opposed twins, which means a cylinder goes that way and one goes that way. And then I got this one, which is a V-twin. So this 22 horsepower monster is going to go on this mower with a governor delete, and we're going to drill out the jets a little bit. Throw it on there, change the pulleys, and see if we can't make David eat himself alive with road rash, right?
That's right.
Okay, so we got the heater on. David's waiting on the lottery numbers to get called. He's also about to go get us some Taco Bell. William's here. We're drinking beers. It's a good night. Let's get.
fat.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty good at it.
He's waiting for Taco Bell.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't even know until now, and he's already anticipating. Like, shit, where's it at? So let's get started getting this motor off. Pretty simple. On this generation, you've got 2 major plug-ins. You've got this guy right here. You've got a ground. Well, somewhere you got a ground. So you can either, for whatever reason, this is cut like this. Oh, that's right. I cut this. I cut this so that the kill wire wouldn't try to stop the mower from running in case the safety sensors didn't work. So if you can't see that, I'm sorry, there's a kill wire I cut. So you unplug it right here. You unplug the fuel shutoff, which is right here. No, that's headlights. Where's fuel shutoff? Oh, this one doesn't have it. Never mind. So you unplug the headlights. Most of them have a little fuel shutoff on the bowl. This one doesn't have that, so ignore that. Unplug the headlights. Unplug this guy. You take the starter feed wire off, which is right there. You unhook the gas line. You take 4 bolts off, 2 belts off, and the throttle cable, and then you lift the motor off. It literally takes like 5 minutes. I think I spent like 5 minutes a piece knocking the ones off at the junkyard using all power tools. Pretty simple, and I was just cutting stuff too, cutting fuel lines, cutting throttle cables. I didn't need any of that. So me and David are going to get started on this. I'm going to convince him to go outside and get me 2 milk crates first. and then we're going to get a jump on it. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so this is where we're leaving off on day 1. The 22 horse is bolted on. It's all hooked up. This was going to be my makeshift fuel tank. I'm a little skeptical because it's gravity feeding into the carb, and I don't know how that's going to work. This type of setup uses a fuel pump over here, which is broken off. So, and yeah, I think that's about it. This runs a fuel pump. It runs off vacuum off the valve cover on this side. Let's see. Oh, the starter. I spun it over, and I was having the starter just really didn't want to go. Fun fact: the V-twin, not the opposed, but the V-twin Briggs motors use the same starters as the newer style Intech series Briggs & Stratton single cylinders, with the exception of the starter gear itself has a different count of teeth on it. So pretty much that means I took the starter off of our single cylinder motor over here, pulled this guy off, swapped the teeth or the starter gear itself out, and stuffed it right onto that one, and she spun good. So I've got all the belts on there now, or the only belt, which is the drive belt, because the deck is gone, and it's running a factory size pulley. So it's not going to be a racehorse or anything, not yet anyway. We'll get to that later this week if it runs and it moves. These are the gears I'm talking about that are on the starter. This is the one for the single cylinder over there, and this is a metal gear, not a plastic gear. So, and this can only be used on certain applications that also use a metal gear. I've tried swapping them out, plastic for metal, and they just don't work. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but usually it chews something up. But anyway, this time everything worked. Motor spins good, so we'll see about firing it off tomorrow. And yeah, all right. So in the morning. And here's day 2, folks. So I got the truck hooked up to life support. I killed the carpenter ants, and I cheated. I already started it, and it's dead on this cylinder. This cylinder has nothing. So we've got one of a couple issues. I just fired it up and checked for spark. I have spark from the coil, or from the plug wire to the spark plug. I have nothing after that. So next order of business, since we know we have spark going to the plug, is spark coming out of the plug, and firing in the cylinder head. I hear it though on one cylinder. It's a little crooked, but here we go. This is just, like I said, it's only firing on that first cylinder. We've got it hooked up though, so I'll let you guys hear it. Like I said, I'm gonna pop that plug out of there and let's see if it's sparking. All right, so I've got that guy out. That's him. He's a little wet on the end. You can tell he's getting fuel. I don't think it's burning at all. I'm hoping that means the plug is bad. But I got it hooked up. It's on the 10. Maybe that'll be enough to ground it to spark. I don't know. I can't. Let me see if I can set the choke and do this one-handed so you guys can watch. Okay. That plug is sparking like crazy, which means we're gonna have to move on to the valves. All right, so I got the valve cover off, and check this out. It's like we've bent a push rod. Wow. Yeah. Let's see if I'm gonna get that guy out of there. So I'm trying to work fast because this time of year we lose daylight really quick. So my hours are limited, and I've got some other stuff I wanted to do. It looks like that push rod just jumped off inside because I took the rocker off, pulled the push rod out. It looked good and straight, and I put it back on, and look, I put it back in its slot for the cam and put it back on here, and look, it's clearance is about right. Let's see if we can move it by hand. All right, there's the down. Hey, look at that. Looks good. We've definitely got valve movement now, and it's coming back. So I'm gonna put the plug back in it, and let's see if we can fire it up and get 2 cylinders to run for the first time. So let me just undo my little kill wire. And boys and girls, we're gonna light this puppy off for the first time, hopefully on 2 cylinders. So here we go. Let's see if it sounds like a twin. It's definitely got a deeper tone now. I'm gonna set you guys down so that I can manipulate the throttle and stuff. Hopefully we still got enough gas. All right, here we go. Check it out. It soaked my camera in oil, and it was worth it. It runs, guys. And on both cylinders. Oh yeah, for sure. All right, let me get the camera cleaned up, get the valve cover bolted back on. I'm gonna check over everything again. Gonna get the tins back on it because I can already hear you guys screaming about the tins. Rig up a throttle. I'm gonna make a test slap. So here we go. And I think this is day 3. I don't know. I think this is day 3 now. So me and David have jumped to conclusions. This is it. We're here. I'm so tongue-tied.
Hey guys.
We know that this motor is going to work perfectly fine now, without any hiccups, right? So because of that, we've jumped right into pulling the rear end out to swap pulleys. Because on a Murray, it's easier to drop the rear end than it is to try to get the pulley off from the top, because these underneath the battery tray, as you can see, is metal, and you can't get to the pulley on the transaxle as easy. So here we are. There is our David delicately remove it. You hit the shifter, son. Turn the shifter. Turn the shifter. Oh, almost.
As far as it goes.
Yeah.
Boy, it's a 10.
It's not a 10. That's probably gonna be an 8.
It's gonna be a 10, Jobo.
No. No.
Give me an 8 there. That's not an 8, it's a 10.
That's not a 10 either.
10 or 11.
Oh, now you're getting bigger than a 10? What? No. Ain't happening. We need to get that stupid workbench in here. One, I'm tired of leaning over like this. And two, I'm tired of having to set crap on the floor. So somewhere, you got a 10? Of course you do.
I'll tell you 10.
It ain't a 10. You're just gonna make it work and round it off.
I'm not.
That's a 9.
It probably is.
Look what just rounded off, David. You know what? You should probably get something that's not a 10.
Find me a 9, shut up.
Oh, now he wants to find me a 9.
Yes,
Oh no,
that's
really?
bigger than a 9 though.
Really?
It looks like a 10.
Try this. 3/8.
That's gonna be a 3.
Still not a 10.
Close enough.
No.
Give me the adapter.
For what?
Um,
You didn't have it? You should have had it.
you had it earlier. You brought it back in from outside.
I threw it in the bucket.
You threw it in the bucket.
This is like 90% of working on anything is looking for what I threw in the bucket. Alright, here we go. Take 17. Put that on there and take it off.
Alright, let's try this one more time, guys.
By the way, oh, go ahead. Really did.
It wouldn't turn the right way for a minute. I was like, it's probably backwards thread. Okay.
We've always got the right tool for the job.
We're looking
Now,
at
there's a washer, so don't lose it. There we go. Just like that. Oh, yeah, just pour the water all on the floor. We got the heater cranking in here, and let me tell you, that thing keeps this place warm, and that's kerosene, not gas. It keeps it warm. I don't even have our insulation or anything up yet, and by George, it's cooking in here. It's like 40 degrees outside today, and it's raining, and it's cold rain.
Should have.
Half inch? All right. Let's go to the Tractor Supply. And now we're on the way to Tractor Supply.
Yep. Gotta get them pulleys.
To get our pulleys, we got our measurements. Got a 1-inch crankshaft on the engine of that Briggs V-twin, and then the rear end has a, what do you say, 7/8?
Rear end? It's a 5/8.
5/8?
It's almost a half of 5.
I don't know, something like that. So we're on the way to Tractor Supply to figure out what we did wrong. And here we are back at the house because I didn't film anything. But we went to Tractor Supply, we got our parts. We went to Burger King, we got food. We came back, we put all our pulleys on, we test fitted it. I've got to rig up an extra tensioner because the factory Murray shifter bracket that comes off the transmission. You probably won't be able to see it, but it's right there at the end of my index finger. Right there is the shaft, and it's in the way of the belt routing diagram that we're going to go with. So yeah, so now we had all the pulleys on there. We test fitted it with the clutch disengaged so it wouldn't be having tension on it. I got to get a pulley. I'm going to use this pulley and not that socket or this bolt, but I'm going to get a bolt twice as long as this and 2 fat washers or roller washers to put in between here to make this whole assembly drop down further to be in line with the belt. So put that in my pocket.
This is the belt?
This is the belt, and the way I like to do it, there's a lot of ways you can do this. You could string it or whatever. I take the old belt, I cut it because it's no longer any good to me. And now that I have cut it, I put it back on there, pull it really tight, and I use a zip tie or a wire clamp or something, like so, to hold it together in its PTO disengaged position with this very tightly pulled, not too tight, but pretty snugly pulled. And then I take it out and I run a nail through it or something to keep it in that shape. And then when you go to the store, You just stretch it out on the thing. It'll tell you what size belt you need, and then you can get it. Now, doing it this way, with the way this tensioner setup is done, I'm going to get it to the closest inch this is. Because we don't have a lot of room for that pulley to move in there before it'll be in the way. So we want to try to get this belt as tightly on there as we can without being too tight that it tries to drag when you have the clutch disengaged and you're shifting gears. You know, like if you're sitting still with it pushed in, I still want it to be not too tight that it's pulling, but we don't want it flopping real loose either. Because we want that tensioner to move as little as possible. We don't want a long throw for engagement. We want a short throw. It'll wear in and it'll break the belt in over time and stretch it out more, and so it'll have a deeper pedal eventually, but for right now, this is what we want. So that's what we're going with. We're going to the store. Back to Tractor Supply we go. So this part of the video is probably going to get old really quick because all of this has just been us going back and forth from places and not even showing you stuff being put on. But hey, you know, it takes time to do this, whatever this is. So we're on our way again to Tractor Supply, this time with less gas because I'm burning gas, but then we'll get
drinks this time.
well, you got a drink, mine's probably water. So we're gonna go there, get a belt, go back to the house, put the belt on. I'm gonna put the gas tank on. I'm gonna bolt everything back together, and then I'm gonna pull the carburetor off. And hopefully at least get to look at what was going on inside the carburetor tonight. And then we're gonna hold the exhaust pipes up to see about where we wanna put those. And then that'll be a wrap for today. All right. So, to Tractor Supply. Sitting on the floor taking apart carburetors.
Yeah, quick update on the mower.
So we're back from Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know. So, and this is the ram horn looking carburetor setup that these freaking twins use. The V-twin looks freaking like a blower. Hold on. It's like a blower on an old school car, but this is all kinds of like dead stuff, bugs and rust and degrading fuel from sitting. And it's amazing because this motor ran and this is just, it was all caked all in there.
Yeah, just look at that.
And the motor needed choke to run, but I mean, it ran.
Like, the bowl, you can't really tell, but it's full of rust too.
Yeah, this thing is...
Like, I cleaned a little bit of it out, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's amazing
Like,
how well
that's
it
what's
ran.
all over this board, rust and gunk from this carburetor. To be honest, guys.
So we're gonna clean this guy up. And then clean the bowl up. And I need to get that, guy out of there because there's a jet down in there.
Just bore it out, make it faster, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, back, got the rear end back in, wheels on. I don't know how well you can see under the mower with this camera, which I'm seeing too well. Let me get a flashlight real quick. Well, what size pulley do on the rear? 3?
We got a 3-inch pulley on the rear.
So like a 3-inch pulley on the rear.
4.5 on the front.
Yeah, 4.5 on the front, which we might go bigger with, just because the belt, the only one they had, has a little slack. And it'd be cheaper just to buy a new pulley than buy a belt, or easier. So, just gonna do that. But yeah, hopefully get the carb cleaned tonight and do a test run tomorrow. So. That way we can see how fast this jalopy goes, whether we need helmets or not.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna need a helmet.
But yeah, that's the quick update while Jay's cleaning this car. So, you know, When we get further in, we'll turn the camera back on.
Alrighty, guys.
I see. Here we go.
So that they know. Now it's recording, right?
Yeah, it's recording now.
So, David, what all have we put back on the mower?
We'll definitely put the hood back on.
And tires.
And tires, yeah. That showed you that last part of
Show them
the
what bolts we got to undo for the hood to raise the spacers up.
Yeah, so this hood, you know, it ain't gonna fit with this motor.
It's made to clear a 12.5.
Yeah, so we actually took, I think 2 bolts out. It's right here, you can't see it because it's armed. The other side's better. Probably dark in here, you know. We still ain't put lights up. But that bolt right there, we took them out on both sides so we can make the hood work for it the best we can. Yeah. Still got a few more things to button up like always, but put the shroud back on over top.
We gotta tighten up the engine bolts because they were loose after our startup the other day. We cleaned the carburetor, took the carburetor off, blew it all out. You were there for that.
Yep, it's back in now. We actually did away with the bar that goes across for the hood.
Yeah, it's supposed to use a straight bar.
It wouldn't work because the exhaust on this doohickey, so we just put bolts in.
Yeah, the twin exhaust comes out the front, is in the way of that bar, so to fix
you
it
can
we
see
use
one
bolts.
exhaust pipe right there. Yep. A few more things to add. We want to put a throttle pedal on it because why not? Make it cooler that way. Hopefully, you know, like I said, tomorrow after work, test. And we know it ain't gonna be, well, it's probably gonna be quick. So for one, I'm gonna be having a helmet on. Oh, we got a choke cable now. Look at that.
We don't have any form of throttle, but we have a
this
choke.
throttle, it does not work, but choke, it works. Steering wheel in the way. You guys can tell I never filmed for this channel because
And we gotta get a fuel
suck
pump.
at it. Pretty sure the people at Tractor Supply are tired of seeing me and Jay. Because every weekend for the past 3 weeks we've been to Tractor Supply.
That's what's going on in the land over here. Finishing up, tightening down loose ends. Hopefully tomorrow, even if it's just at an idle, we will be able to start it and back it out of the building. Because remember, we got to tighten. There you go. Because remember, we got to tighten up our engine bolts. All 4 of them, they're loose. I just hand tighten them in there to fire the motor up. Need to stuff an air cleaner down in it, or a foam filter down in the air intake. Hook up a fuel line. Hook up a fuel pump. Put a keyway in the engine pulley.
Yeah, because we didn't do that. We forgot to buy one.
Yeah, and tighten up all of the Allen heads on the new pulleys once the keyways are in. And I think after all that, we'll be ready for her very first
run
drive.
up the road. Yeah, I'm gonna try and find something to run as a throttle pedal for this thing tomorrow, either at work or run by my house.
He wants one of those old foot gas pedals, you know, the foot pedal covers. I thought that was pretty cool.
You know,
If we can find one.
yeah. Which, if I remember, there's one in the basement at work, so I'm gonna try and find it tomorrow morning. And but I don't know if this was the smartest idea to build this for me to ride. Because if any of y'all actually know me, I will probably wreck it. Because I wreck anything. So, but that was our quick update for tonight. I think we're almost done. It's 11 o'clock.
We're about to call it a night.
Yeah, 'cause we both got to be at work at 8 o'clock, and as much as I don't want to go to work, I need to go to work.
So we are connected. The only thing I could not locate today was a fuel pump. So I just ran my filter straight from the tank. We're gonna gravity feed it. This tank sits, I like measured, eyeballed it. The tank does sit a little bit higher than the bowl on the carburetor, meaning it should work. I'm guessing. I have a feeling we're going to be running it with a little bit of choke to keep it going, but if that's the biggest issue we have, I'm down with that. So, like I said, rear end's back in, belts and pulleys are on, choke's hooked up. We don't really have much of a throttle at the moment. The wiring is not entirely finished, but this is enough. We're gonna fire it up and see what happens. Tank is patched, so everything's all bolted together. I just now remembered I need to go back over all the engine mounts real quick. I'm gonna torque those down. Our belts are on, our little homemade tensioner's on, new front pulley's on. Everything's ready for a first fire up once I torque down the engine bolts, and then we're gonna light this guy off. So with this wire, that I'm gonna put into this connector right here, there's the click of our fuel pump, or our fuel shutoff switch. And this will be the first startup if it starts. So choke out, keys on, batteries in, we have fuel on our line. You ready?
Let's go ahead and do it. That was a weird noise. You farted or something?
Nope. Alright, you can stop it, we'll pick it up again. And we're gonna go for a take 2. Put a little bit more gas in it. Hopefully that'll fill the float bowl up now. Wait till you get it on flat ground. Alright, stop. Go ahead and bump it in a second. You gotta push that clutch all the way in. That's second. Ease it out. You wanna go to third? Just bump it. Let's get on the road. Yeah. Go ahead. Real slow. Bump it into fifth. Oh man, and that's with no throttle. Idle speed. It's definitely time to hook up a throttle. Alright guys, catch us next time when we hook up a throttle cable. Thank you all for